So welcome everybody to the May 7th Ortelius Architecture meeting. Um, Not a lot of changes from last week from a coding perspective. Uh, like I said last week, I was able to clean up the SAS version, um, and I do need to work on. Sasha mentioned that his company that he's working for is running on Azure. So I need to look at the Terraform piece for the Azure provisioning over there. And I have to check to see if we can get a some Azure credits for some testing. It's been a while since we've been out on Azure. Um, Not a high priority, but it's on the to-do list. I did clean up the data in the database and make the fix to keep the duplicate S-bombs from being generated. We went from like 3 gig of S-bombs to a couple to like 100 meg. So uh, big cleanup that happened on that front. Also, we what was it, yesterday? Well, a couple like over a week ago, we did some a deploy up applied for a grant to work with the Argonne National Lab and another open source group called HDF, which was like a file system group to do AI securing AI. And in that process, I got deep into the weeds with AIBoms and what's involved with those. So AIBoms is a new Cyclone DX has a AI bomb JSON structure, but nobody really has a good tool to generate them. So uh, you can get part of the way there, but what ends up happening is a lot of it depends on what's in Hugging Face. And when you're doing a proprietary LLM, you're not going to push it out the Hugging Face. So there's going to be some work down the road around AI bombs. Um, we did meet yesterday with IBM and Red Hat. The folks that were here our last meeting from IBM, they kind of gave us a demo of what they're working on. What they've been focusing on is at Red Hat specifically, is they get the S-bombs from vendors, and they recognize that the S-bombs are incomplete. So there's data missing in them, and they've developed a couple web front ends to upload a S-bomb, and then the front end goes through and parses the S-bomb and tries to do some validation against the S-bomb. You know, like are all the pearls all consistent, or are they all mangled? Are there licenses missing? Are there suppliers missing? That type of thing. Um, and then they did do some cross-referencing with some vulnerability data from OSV Dev. Um, so it was the other thing that they were looking at was, you know, how old packages are. So is this package that we're dependent upon 3 years old and has no maintainers? Kind of raising the red flag type of aspect. So um, we are going to meet with them in another 2 weeks about after CDCon to circle back around and see what data we can that we should include in Ortelius. One of the things that their platform that they put together is it doesn't include a backend. So it's literally point in time. I give you this S-bomb and they'll interrogate it, but there's no backend to it. So they're because we have our back end, that may be a way we can fit in with them. And we'll have to figure out where we're going to put some of the data that they're interested in versus what we worry about. We've been mostly worried about vulnerability high-end critical vulnerabilities versus did somebody forget to put their license file into their repo? So one extreme to the other extreme type of data that we're looking at. There was a little bit of overlap, but most of it was complementary between what they're doing and what we're doing. Tracy, did I miss anything on that?
Przemyslaw also he goes by Rogue. He did indicate that there were some things that he thought we should change in our front end. I don't know if you captured any of that.
Yeah, I have to look at so basically if he was questioning how we handle the same vulnerability reported from different um, repositories. So, for example, if there's a vulnerability for Alpine, what happens is that same vulnerability is found in a Debian vulnerability database and also reported in like a GitHub database. So so all the CVE IDs are supposedly unique, but the reporting structure is slightly different. So I have to look at what we need to do on that front. I think we're covered, but I just have to look at dive into the actual logic of the database queries to see how things are being deduplicated on that front. Um, it's a minor thing, from my perspective. If we have the same CVE um, that's coming from a GitHub disclosure and coming from Alpine or ChainGuard. In our table that we list that the CVE is there's multiple rows. Um, I, for me, it's a, a minor thing to have that duplicated data. I'd rather have duplicated data than missing data. So,
Yeah, exactly.
um, that type of thing. So we may just end up adding a column to one of the tables. Um, so for right now, I don't really have any new coding tasks that are like need to be done. That could be one of them, Arvin. I'll let you know once I dive deeper into the changes needed for that deduplication thing. It'll be probably it would be in our GraphQL Golang code, or that's where more than likely will happen, and also some changes to the front end Next.js code. Most of that can be done by loading in both repos into like Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini and having one of those tools make the changes for you. Um, so
Uh,
that, yeah,
yeah, got it. Got it. I will just take a look at the GraphQL and the backend, and the front end will be the easier one.
yeah. Like I said, I'm finishing up some of this government paperwork, and um, I will try to get to it early next week to look into what the changes are and create an issue and assign it to you.
Awesome. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, and a part of that is I need to uh, figure out how we can do um, a test database for you to work with. One of the things I forgot to mention, I did implement Arango backups. So basically a Rango dump of the database. So one of the good things is that ends up creating us basically a TGZ file that we can then import and pass around. So it's no longer like a Google bucket, snapshot or anything like that. It's more portable to let us move things around. I just have to see if there's any proprietary data in there, which I don't think there is.
Connect is Docker container out of it?
Yeah. So what you'll be able to do is once I just verify that database backup for any proprietary data in there, I'll be able to get that to you through a Google Drive so you can download it, and you'll be able to run a Rango locally using Docker. The front end and back end, you can either run in Docker just from the command line. So the development world's a lot easier than our old version. It can all be done in um, just in your Visual Studio editor. So what I'll do is I'll bring up a version of Visual Studio for the front end, a version of Visual Studio for the back end, and then a run Arango as a just a Docker command. So it allows you to go ahead and debug and update things very easily. And that will be
Okay, yeah.
and I have to update the blog and how to set that up. I think I did some of the updates to the blog to like the contributor documentation around that, but it's not 100% because I didn't include the database backup and restoring that. So big plus that we'll be able
Okay.
to have multiple people contributing to the code base very in a very easy way. And like I said,
Yeah.
I use Claude for and Gemini, depending if I run out of tokens to make the changes to the coding. So basically, I go in, tell it what I want it to change, cut and paste that to my back into Visual Studio, test it, and then if I need more changes done or it didn't do something right, then I just go back to the chat prompt. I don't use like Claude Code yet, like Sasha does. I still have to get that set up. And
Yeah,
the
I
open
also like
rooters.
mostly use Node. It's
Yeah,
simple. Just
yeah, exactly. So that's what we're kind of up to. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we have. We're going to be at CDCon in the next week or so. So that's like the only other thing coming up. We do still need to dive into more of the videos, like the training videos type of things. But we'll get there. Uh, we'll I have to get through the review the issues to see where we're at. I think there's some issues that we can clean up, and I'll create some new ones. Anybody else have anything that I may have missed or any questions? Alrighty, a short and sweet one, 15 minutes.
Okay.
Thanks, everybody. And stay posted. I will get those issues. I'll start working on those issues early next week.
yeah.
Thank
I
you,
will
Steve.
keep my eyes on it. Yeah. Thanks. Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, cheers. Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.